right, welcome back. You are tuned in to Radio Rangrez, Rang Bhar De, and as you know it, every Wednesday between 5:30 and 6 p.m. we do have Miss Pallavi Ahluwalia of the Ahluwalia Law Offices coming your way to answer all your immigration questions. And the number to the studio here is 972-440-5800. That's 972-440-5800. So agar aapka koi bhi immigration sawal hai, you need to call in with those questions right now. Once again, that number is 972-440-5800 for all your immigration questions. And without further ado, let's go ahead and bring in Pallavi ji on air right now with us, joining in. Good evening, how are you?
I'm doing wonderfully well. How are you? And thank you so much for hosting me.
Absolute pleasure of mine. And thank you. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving break and all relaxed.
Yes, doing very well. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. So firstly, obviously, we're going to open the lines up right now, guys. If you have any immigration questions, this is the time to call in with your questions. The number to the studio is 972-440-5800. That's 972-440-5800. Definitely go ahead and give us a call for all your immigration questions. But before we take some calls here, and hopefully we'll get some calls to get your immigration questions answered. Pallavi ji, anything important that's happening in the immigration world? Firstly, tell me, during the end of the year, like we're in December now, is there any kind of movement expected from positively from the immigration world?
Well, for right now, we've just had some horrific tweets that say that stop all legal immigration, right?
Yeah.
And from the third world countries, and we have a list of 19 countries that were listed out. Now, we don't know. I literally have emails that are coming to us from people looking for us all over. And so it is true. It's not something that is just some hullabaloo that has been created, but it is true because we have had an email through American Immigration Lawyers Association that someone reached out from Germany to us, and they had an Afghan spouse that they had sponsored for. They are themselves U.S. citizens, and they were rejected under 212F, right? So this is the broad capacity of the government to deny the visas and keep people out. And this is given under the president's authority to suspend the entry of, it could be migrants, it could be whoever they want to.
Right.
So this is basically some language that people would see that say a consular officer found you ineligible for a visa under 212F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, right? So it's something that's going to keep emerging right now. And they say that if this is going to be deemed detrimental to the U.S. interests, then for any period, so it may stand. Now, what happens is if people are here in the country and they're facing some denials, there's still some recourse. But if they're abroad, then it makes it a bit harder for them to be able to do this. But just in case, I'm not sure if you know about the countries. Are you aware of the countries? Some of them are in our South Asian area. So let me read those countries' names out, all right?
Okay.
So we have the list of countries that was targeted in Wednesday's, which is literally today's memorandum, included Afghanistan, Burma. So Burma and Afghanistan, of course, in our subcontinent. Chad, the Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Syria, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, right? There were some other who had some partial restrictions in June, and they were Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela.
All right. Okay.
So it says this new policy is putting a hold on all pending application and mandates. So it's not just that you're not allowed to enter. So if it is, say for example, an officer who has any of these countries that comes on his table, they're going to set them aside. And they say, we will undergo a thorough re-review process and another interview if it's needed to be able to see if they would allow them. Lots of reports right now that are reports of cancelled oath ceremonies, naturalization interviews, and adjustment of status interviews as well from the countries that we have listed above. Now, when they're talking about developing countries, we kind of know India falls in that, Pakistan falls in that, right, all of that. We know Bangladesh would fall in that. We also know that China belongs to that. So let's see what happens here, and we'll have to just wait and see this one out.
Okay. We do have some calls coming in, so we're quickly going to jump to some calls here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Radio, you're live on the air. Go ahead with your immigration question, please.
Hi, this is Danish here. I have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
My question is, one of my friend, he just got married from Pakistan, and he wants to bring his spouse here. But as we know that, we have to go through the immigration process as we have to file as a spouse. But is it possible, if he apply for his spouse as a visit visa, and then she can come here, and then he can apply for the spouse? So I just want to get to know, if it's possible and what is the process.
So visit visas are hardest to come by, right? But did you see that was your friend a U.S. citizen or a green card holder? What's their status?
Yes, he's a U.S. citizen.
Yeah. So then why apply for a visitor visa? He'll have to get married and do the I-130 event. It'll take time. It'll be a couple of years. It's not fast. Nothing is fast right now. But the visitor visas are harder.
Okay, so
right. He will have to do the I-130. Yeah, I-130, okay. And then wait your time and then get on to the next process. Again, wait in time. Nothing is easy in the immigration world. No fast things anymore, unfortunately.
Okay, so you said typical time is as we know that previously it was 8 months to 16 months, but now for a citizen is getting 2 years?
Yeah, it's taking 2 to 3 years. It's taking 2 to 3 years. So
okay,
but we are also seeing younger people who have less things going on for them, unless they've already have a visitor visa, are getting a harder time to get the visitor visa stamped. There are more denials than there are approvals. So in that time, then you're wasting more time, right? Because you're waiting for your interview date, then you're going through a process, you've put yourself again a little bit behind.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that was my question. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course, you take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your call. Once again, guys, if you do have an immigration question, the number to the studio here is 972-440-5800. That's 972-440-5800. We are with Ms. Pallavi Ahluwalia of the Ahluwalia Law Offices answering your immigration questions right now. She is on our show every Wednesday between 5:30 and 6 p.m. answering your immigration questions. Once again, 972-440-5800 is the number to the studio for your immigration questions. We are with Ms. Pallavi Ahluwalia right now. You can also visit the website for the Ahluwalia Law Offices, which is yourdesilawyer.com. That's yourdesilawyer.com. Or you can call the office number if you want to schedule yourself an appointment at 972-361-0606. That's 972-361-0606. But right now we are welcoming all your calls that is related to your immigration questions. 972-440-5800 is the number to the studio. Pallaviji, I also see that there were quite some updates made on the blog section of the website. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take one more call here. Radio Rangrez, you are live on the air. What is your question, please?
Yeah, hello, Pallaviji. My name is Prakash. I was wanting to check. I already am on a green card, and I wanted to know when is the earliest when I can apply for the N400 naturalization form, and what is the typical times it is taking currently? Is it being impacted by some of the decisions coming out of the U.S. Immigration Department?
Okay, so how long have you been a permanent resident?
It's in September 2026, it will be 4 years.
Yeah, so 4 year, 9 months is when is your earliest if you had your green card that came in from an employment-based category. Was it an employment-based category?
It was an employment-based category.
A derivative? Yeah, or derivative, okay. So 4 year, 9 months is the earliest you can apply. From 20th of October of this year, there's a harder version of the test, right? A little bit more detailed. That requires a little bit more studying. It's no big deal. But from August of this year, they have instituted a good moral character showing that should be there. So basically, this is something that I would say that would require work that you can be doing for charities, which should not just be your religious institutions, but a bit more than that. So a little bit ahead of that. Donations, your immigration story, and how you're contributing. Also, at that point, I tell people that make your folks that live around you, your neighbors and all, aware that there may be a knock at the door to find out what kind of a guy you are. They said they would institute neighborhood checkups or check-ins, but I have not seen them do that yet with any of our clients. But it depends on their hiring, and they do have a lot of funding right now for enforcement. So I can see them literally converting into this model and asking it. So be aware of what kind of a neighbor are you? I mean, are you the good neighbor who helps out, or are you just keeping to yourself, which is what most American neighbors are. So things of that nature. But otherwise, for most of our clients that have gone through with us, we have curated the understanding from what the government asks every time, and we have a certain list of documents that we enclose, and they are ever changing. So what we know last year is not what we know right now. So everything keeps morphing, and then if you do it, we have our guys getting their citizenships in 3 months, 2.5 months, 3 months. So not too long. Yeah, not too long in the Dallas area.
After 4 years and 9 months.
Correct. That's the time that you're eligible to apply. And of course, there are other resets that may happen, right? And the resets that happen would be, let me say, things like if there's a criminal matter, if you had lived abroad for over 6 months at any stage, that resets your residence requirement.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your call one more time. And guys, if you do have an immigration question, you can always call the studio number, which is 972-440-5800. That's 972-440-5800. We are with Miss Pallavi Ahluwalia of the Ahluwalia Law Offices right now, answering your immigration questions. You are tuned in to Radio Rangrez, and she's with us close to about 6 o'clock this evening, answering these questions for you. Once again, the number is 972-440-5800 for your immigration questions. You can go ahead and give us a call with all your immigration questions that you have. And if it's just like something that you want to inquire that is in your head, kind of something like a small question, that's okay too. You can always call in and clear your doubts. 972-440-5800. The number to the studio. Speaking of the website, we were talking about it earlier, and your blog section of the page, Pallaviji, it stays very updated at all times, so all our listeners can definitely go in there and check out whatever is discussed on the show, and even more that can be checked out on the blog section of the page for yourdesilawyer.com. What are other things that you definitely want to highlight for our community?
So we're saying any little skirmish with the law, we're talking about tickets that are alcohol related or anything else, are getting a knock at the door literally on your cases, meaning that there are requests for evidence that require you to go for fingerprinting, then you get noids. So there are things that the government is concerned with, and they want to make sure that there are no criminals here in the country, and especially the ones that were in their mind not discovered before that need to go out. Just be mindful now. Just because you're going to get an RFE, right, from the government that says that they want you to go fingerprinting for something, that does not mean that you will get denied. I mean, we're getting a bunch of these, but we're getting them all approved as long as you can show and make solid, good arguments and a favorable reason for them to exercise discretion positively in your favor should be something that that you should be able to get your case approved with. So as long as and I know most of our community is amazing folks, but as long as you literally don't care and your attitude has been completely bizarre, most cases can be won with a little bit of an effort, and your effort to show the government that you do care to be inside the United States and contributing.
Absolutely. And with the holiday season, I've also seen a lot of DWI cases go up within the community. And I think one needs to be mindful, especially if you are on a status that you do not want to absolutely lose. One needs to be mindful of that as well. Just don't drink and drive is the...
Correct, for sure. for sure. And then the next thing is that we all know in today's world there is Ubers, right? I mean, why would anyone, even with a drink, like, risk anything for themselves, right? So I have to make sure that we don't take those risks unnecessarily and then keep ourselves safe.
Absolutely. Once again, 972-440-5800 is the number to the studio, guys. If you do have an immigration question for Pallavi, this is the time to call in with your questions. Once again, that number is 972-440-5800. Pallavi is with us every Wednesday between 5:30 and 6 p.m. answering your immigration questions. You can always log on to yourdesilawyer.com and find out more details about the firm, or you can call the office number at 972-361-0606. That's 972-361-0606 and schedule yourself an appointment right away. Now, last week we did talk about the December visa bulletin, Vijay, but for those who have missed it, and what are the takeaways from the visa bulletin that you might want to reiterate?
Yeah, so just the fact that we are still in dates of filing world, right, which means which is better than final action dates in terms of your allowance, right? So I think from October it hasn't moved, and I think it, from what we understand, is going to remain like that for the rest of the year. So there's not going to be much progress going on in the employment-based categories. One thing, though, I'd like to point out, and that's again mentioned in our blog, that there is new guidance that has come out that does, and what we were discussing earlier, that introduces national security factors into immigration vetting. That has started on from November 27th, right? So there is updated guidance that says that the 19 countries that we've discussed, which is the presidential proclamation, but they are just going into discretionary immigration reviews. So, I mean, so it's not just like if you were in trouble or you got arrested or you were criminally charged. It's more than that, right? And this provision that they've announced is allowing the suspension. So this kind of shows how far U.S. will go this time around on the enforcement against immigrants, especially the ones that they think are going to be a security risk to the U.S.
Okay, so we do have another caller coming in, so let's go ahead and take another caller here. Radio Rangrez, you're on the air. What is your immigration question for Pallavi, please?
Yes. So my question is that we are here on L1 and we have a EAD. Can I exit the country in the current scenario, or will I be stopped if I want to travel to India? Will I be stopped on my way back into the country?
So you have an EAD right now along with an AP?
Yes,
ma'am. Okay. Is it a combo card? What do you hold? I mean,
just the EAD.
Yes, EAD does not allow travel permission. How are you planning on traveling?
Oh, okay. So, no, I do not have the combo card. So if I only have the EAD, then I cannot exit the country. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. You can't.
Okay. But when I went for, So when I went for the DL, they even renewed my DL. So that is okay. That's fine,
it's
right?
Not, yeah,
but
it's not.
For immigration,
this is very worrying. This is very worrying. You cannot travel with an EAD. And a stamping on or a renewal of your driver's license is not permission to travel.
Okay.
You have to have a visa or a category that allows you to travel. You cannot. And my regular advice to everyone is please do not travel. That's my regular advice right now. We're pretty strict about it right now. Because we kind of know that, I mean, this is something that will just completely destroy your future in the country. It's not a matter that we can take lightly.
Okay, I understand. Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your call there. Once again, the number to the studio, guys, is 972-440-5800. If you do have an immigration question for Pallavi, definitely go ahead and give us a call. She's with us every Wednesday between 5:30 and 6 p.m. answering these questions for you. 972-440-5800. We have last 5 minutes or so left for the show here. What are the kind of cases are you seeing right now at the office that are more prevalent, really? Maybe something we can talk about that can help the community.
Most of the issues that we are seeing is just an increase on the RFEs on cases that we kind of know that the government had been extending or approving. Say, for example, we're seeing an increase in the E2 status extensions, right? So earlier on, and these are people who have come and invested money here, running successful businesses, have employees that are going on, and the same set of documents that have been getting them approved, and obviously they're never the same, they have to be updated, and that were getting through for the last maybe 10 years are now getting challenged, and they're going back to scratch. So it's almost, what I'm experiencing is that we're seeing a little bit of a pressure on the current officers to find fault, number one. Number two, to not, if there were a couple of extensions that were done under previous administrations, to cross-question the officers who were involved in those, and to make sure that everyone is facing a tougher examination before they get approved.
Well, so a lot of requests for evidence, definitely. And as far as the USCIS is concerned, do you still see that they are not staffed properly? That has been a concern for many years now.
Correct. So, the staffing was lower. I'm not seeing them that backlogged unless they are going to set away cases and say we want to slow down the process. Right. I see the same kind of stuff. But one thing that I'm seeing, and maybe I can invite some callers if they've experienced it, is that NVC is not receiving cases from USCIS in a timely manner, especially on fiancé visa cases. So those kind of cases, they have like a 4-month window in which the fiancé has to obtain their visa stamp to be able to enter the country. They are not getting the transfer documents from USCIS to NVC for NVC to process. So we're in this ping pong that's going on between both these agencies, and we don't know where the trouble is. We don't know whether USCIS is being, and they are being mean to clients too. It doesn't matter who they are. Right. And they are being mean and being rude, and I'm getting that feedback. So we are just warning people out there that if you have these, then please bring them to our attention as well. And this needs to be something that we have to push AILA as a liaison to kind of take some action on.
Right, absolutely. Once again, guys, we are with Ms. Pallavi Ahluwalia of the Ahluwalia Law Offices. You can call the office number if you want to schedule yourself an appointment, 972-361-0606. That's 972-361-0606. You can log on to yourdesiLawyer.com and find out more details about the firm. And, of course, we are with you every Wednesday between 5:30 and 6 p.m. answering your questions. Last minute and a half left, Viji, and I would love for you to have your closing remarks.
So we are, just stay tuned, follow the law in whatever you're doing, stay out of trouble. Do not travel if you don't really absolutely have to. And I'm not saying this to scare you, but there's a bunch of things that you're not aware of, which is deeper than what you can see on your visa stamp, right? It may be a previous employer you worked for that's gotten in trouble. It may be some work that you did under the table and that employer got in trouble, and something that was released about you. So there's a lot more out there that can cause some issues. So unless you're ready to go and risk your stay in the country, your presence in the country, and you have that kind of a situation that definitely requires you to travel, I would be mindful as to what we travel. We're also hearing, and I think I brought this up, Vaibhav, I'm not sure if I did, that if you're coming into the country and you're carrying in prescription kind of drugs without a prescription, that may be an issue for anyone.
Oh, really?
Right. So if you're visitors or green card holders or whoever you are, drugs that are controlled substances are an issue for you to carry in without a prescription. Please,
so like an amoxicillin or like...
you need to have a prescription. You can't just go to India to the pharmacy.
Because a lot of people have done that in the past, so...
Exactly. We cannot. Be aware.
Well, good to know. I think that's great to know because a lot of people do that. So, okay. All right. Well, thank you, Pallavi ji. Always a pleasure with the vast knowledge that you have. You help the community always, and such a pleasure hosting you always.
Thank you so much, and I'm so happy to have Radio Rangrez take off. I'm behind this enterprise and very happy to be part of it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you.
Take care.